the people who are doubting, the people who second guess your ideas too much, you may want to keep them at arm's length. So it was a moment where, you know, I accepted death, you know, and people may think that, you'll be terrified. I wasn't terrified at all. I just literally said, wow, God, well, this is it. It ends here. All of that, and you can attest to this, going through near death experiences, you really see what life is and you really see what matters and what doesn't. And me, I'm a very authentic and loving person. And if I'm wrong, I always would say I'm wrong. And I'm sitting back and looking at all these situations. I'm like, well, I didn't do anything wrong there. Oh, that person expected me to give them a lot of money for nothing. Very important to keep rolling. Consistency is everything. If people see you being inconsistent, if you don't believe in your product, they're not going to believe in your product.
Welcome to the Art of Reinvention show, where we're changing the world one person at a time by provoking thought. I'm your host, bringing you inspiring conversation and real stories that drive change. Tune in, be inspired, and join our community. Don't forget to share and subscribe to our podcast. Your journey to reinvention starts here. Here's your host, the one and only Teflon John.
Turn this up.
Before we dive into today's episode, I would like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, The Hurt Factory Boxing and Fitness, owned by one of my past guests, Scott Cujo Sigmund, a talented boxer, trainer, and promoter. The Hurt Factory is a premier boxing gym and health institution located at 17804 Forest Road, Unit C, Forest, Virginia, zip code 24551. This fantastic facility offers top-notch boxing training and fitness programs for individuals of all levels, from beginner to expert athletes. At the Hurt Factory, expert trainers provide personalized workouts and classes to help you reach your fitness goals and improve your boxing skills. Whether you're looking to get in shape, build strength, or enhance your boxing technique, the Hurt Factory is the place for you. Join us today and experience the ultimate workout in a supportive and motivating environment. For more information, you can call them at 434-238-5809 or visit them on Facebook at The Hurt Factory Boxing and Fitness. Hey everyone, I'm excited to share a fantastic event coming up that you won't want to miss. Daniel Barksdale Productions, LLC is presenting a powerful stage play titled The Family Reunion by the talented Daniel Barksdale himself. Mark your calendars for April 12th from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at the Historic Academy Theater. Tickets are just $35 plus taxes and fees. This is an incredible opportunity to witness drama, singing, and heartfelt moments that explore family dynamics. But wait, there's more. If you can't make it in April, don't worry. There's a second performance on May 24th from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Now, what is the play about? Jamal, the main character, tries to gather his family for a reunion after 5 long years, hoping to share some important news. However, as his family arrives, they bring along their own struggles with hurt and betrayal, which may overshadow Jamal's intentions. Daniel Barksdale, known for his award-winning work, invites you to experience an evening filled with emotion and inspiration. His previous production, Sunday Morning, has captivated audiences and earned multiple award nominations, a testament to his dedication to storytelling. Remember, every patron must have a ticket for this event, and all ages are welcome. Just a quick reminder, videography and audio recording during the performances are prohibited, but feel free to snap photos before and after the show. For tickets and more information, contact the Bank of the James ticketing office at 434-846-8499. Don't miss out on this chance to be a part of something truly special. Grab your tickets for the family reunion today. Now back to the episode. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy Teflon John coming to you with a power-packed episode today. We got my man Anthony Train Johnson.
What's up, my brother?
You know what I'm saying? This has been, what, like a year?
Year
two?
some change.
Yeah, in the making, man. So congratulations on your show. See the success of your show, man. So like I said, it just makes me happy to see other brothers doing something positive communication, positive, talking, and just getting that word out, man.
Yeah.
Getting that word out. So if you want to take about 30, 40 seconds and tell people who you are and what you do.
All right. My name's Anthony Train Johnson, guys. I'm from Central VA. Born in Lynchburg, but I was raised in the county, Concord, or Appomattox County actually, but lived in Concord, country kid. Grew up basically, very tight knit family. We may have, struggled or whatever, whatnot here and there, but it was always tight. I was always family oriented, and I always had a drive from being young, and that led me to, staying involved with things, whether it's school activities or anything like that, to being ambitious enough to want to do acting and podcasting and public speaking. So everything's going well, Train Files LLC. I packaged my entertainment and called it Train Files, something I've been calling, for years. I've been calling my entertainment Train Files. So basically, everything's been going well. Basically, from podcasting to acting to comedy, I've just been working very hard, and I have a love for the game, love for the craft. So
that's what's up.
basically it. Yeah.
That's what's up. So what motivated you to start your journey to go towards the entertainment industry?
I'll start like this. I'll start light. When I was a very young child, I would say 6, 7 years old, my grandma, she was very pivotal in my life as far as being a leader, as far as, everything that she exemplified. But on nights or days, she would have her television on these shows that I would just be enamored with. From Sanford and Son, from Flip Wilson. And I would say the main guy was the Flip Wilson show when I was a very little kid. I was able to watch a black comedian be able to host a show, have different characters, write, direct, and it just opened my eyes to another world. Being from the country, when you get to see the TV screen and see some of these, things that you can't fathom, it can inspire you. So I would say that started off to inspire me. And then not to get too deep, my father ended up leaving my life when I was 8 years old, me and my brother. And, looking back on it now, I think for me, saying, hey, you didn't want to give me no attention, you wanted to leave, I'm going to work hard. You're gonna see me one day. I'm going to be completely 100% honest with you. Early on in my life, I didn't think that was the case. But later on, when I think about it and I truly, hone in, the drive came from wanting to prove people wrong and having a passion for what I'm doing. So blessings come in sometimes, crazy packages.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically just the core of my family, my grandma and my family is very talented. They're very funny, you know what I mean? And having all that around and witnessing that, it just put something in me.
Okay. So as a child, right, what was the moment when you realized you were funny or someone else realized you were funny?
I would say school bus days. School bus days. My twin brother, he was very shy, and I was more of the talker. He's an introvert. I'm more of the extrovert. So I think there were times where I noticed on that school bus, if I make these people laugh, if I say something, I just remember this one day just starting, the back and forth joking, and I'm like in sixth grade. I jumped in it and I had some jokes. Everybody starts laughing. Once I saw that you can control somebody's mood, you can make somebody feel physically better by making them laugh. Oh, that showed me everything. That did something to me because that's power. And not that I'm obsessed with power, but if I can make someone else's day better by something as simple as making them laugh, I mean, that's just a blessing right there.
Yeah.
So I think from those days, on that school bus, being very young, my first time going back and forth, because I would hear the older guys joke. And the first time I got in, everybody laughed. I looked around like, oh, wow, I like this. I can work with this. So I would say that's where
it started.
Yes.
So when did you have your first stand-up?
First stand-up was over 2025 now. It was over 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I would say it was 2013. And long story short, I had a love for creating video content. So I just became inspired, honestly, through a friend who told me I need to put this stuff out. Like we would joke around, just hanging out, and he would be crying, laughing. He would say, Train, you need to do something with this. People get paid to be this talented and funny. So I said, man, I always, have these things in my head, these stories in my head. I started making video content.
Yeah.
And, this is before Country Wayne and all those guys that was doing it. And I started doing it, and it started getting traction immediately. And that led to a DJ named DJ Bobby B. Shout out DJ Bobby B. He was from New York, and this is how God works. He knew a close cousin of mine was from New York, and she had shared it on her page. And he had asked, what is this? Who is this? She said, it's my cousin, da da da. He's like, man, I want him to get on the stage. He said, I'm a DJ. I got a DJ competition coming, a battle coming at Catalani's, is what it was called. I would like for him to do 3 minutes of stand up before and bring me out for my part of the battle.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, it started there. It started with the videos and then getting contacted. And when he hit me up, I said, I do videos. I don't do stand up. I have a love for all these things, but I don't know if you want me to do this for this big event. This is a huge event they had going. And that man recruited me. That man came to my house. He said, man, let me just sit down and talk to you. He drove to my house like a college kid getting recruited, like a kid getting recruited to college. And he said, man, please, I think you really should do this. And I done it. I went out there. Shout out Arthur Landrum. It was an event that he had put together, a known promoter in Lynchburg. And that was my first event. That was my first time on stage, and it was a sold-out crowd. And they had performances there from Mr. Cheeks was there. The man who's Vic, V-I-C, he sings the Wobble song. You all know the Wobble song.
Yeah, I remember that night. Yeah.
So, that was a very pivotal point. And not to be long-winded, but I would be remiss if I didn't say this.
Take your time.
So that show comes along, and this is how I want my younger guys to realize when that moment happens, you're going to have a moment where you got to make a decision. Do I stick my neck out and really go for this? Or do I, just move on? And the show was going on. It's supposed to be different acts coming up there. And I'm looking at the lineup list, and, this guy hasn't went out there. This guy hasn't went out there. So I'm noticing they're taking the normal acts and they're just scratching them off the show. These are like local people they're giving an opportunity to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was supposed to be on stage by 9. It's 11:30. I'm not on stage. And it's starting to look like, okay, they're not going to put any of these acts, these local guys they promised on.
Mm-hmm.
And my DJ, he was disappointed. He didn't know what to do. So I never forget, I'm sitting in the back and I got family out there and things like that. And my Aunt Charlene started texting my phone. Aunt Charlene, she does not go to clubs. You know what I mean? She's front row at this jam-packed club.
Mm-hmm.
She is well known in Lynchburg. She said, Anthony, you need to, when you coming out the stage, when you coming out here? And I said, honestly, I think that, it's not going to happen. They're not letting the local acts on. So, I'm sorry you came here. I'm just going to move on. And her words to me, and I'm not going to say her exact words, but she texted back in all caps and said, Anthony, if you don't get your A on that stage and do what you're made to do.
Yeah.
That lit a fire in me. So right then, I went to Arthur, the man, the promoter. I said, look, man, I'm going on next. And he said, who are you? I said, I'm Anthony Train Johnson. He said, oh, you one of my comedy guys. You comedy, right? I said, yeah. And just as simple as that, oh, okay, tell DJ Noise you up next. It was just that simple.
That's simple.
And I went up there to DJ Noise too. He was there. And I said, Noise, I'm next. And Noise looking like, nobody gave me this green light.
Yeah.
Like, I said, Arthur Landrum said, Noise said, coming to the stage, Anthony Train Johnson. And at that point, my nervousness had went away.
Yeah.
And a fire was in me. I kind of felt like I was kind of put to the side. So when I got out there, I was like, my hair was on fire. You know what I'm saying?
To prove.
So, I clowned everybody. I clowned Arthur. I clowned the performances, everybody, the guys that was coming on next, DJs, and people really liked it. After that, Lynchburg is a small city. Well, I don't say small city, but people talk. Shout out to Chris England, owns the Clubhouse. He contacted me through Facebook and said, I heard you do comedy. I would like a comedy show at my venue, with 4 or 5 comedians, da-da-da.
Okay.
So it just went from there. And I told him, here's the thing, guys. I want my people to hear this. Go ahead and book that event, even if you're not prepared yet. I had no other comedian. Me and my first show.
Yeah.
So I said, I got you. I said, I'll have 4 ready for you. So I booked it. I went on and I went on Facebook, asked about comedians, and I was getting plugged in with guys that had done some work from around here and guys that never done some work. And I ended up putting a team together. And I had a cousin named Big Boy Floyd, Dwight. Shout out Dwight Elliott. I always thought he was so talented, so funny. I called him. I said, Dwight, I got this thing going, man. I think you need to stand up with me. And he said, man, I've never done it. I said, trust me, you're very talented. And he joined me, man. And God bless him. We went on a nice run. So, the thing was bring 4 comedians, bring a DJ with us. We'll have comedians make you laugh and all that stuff. Then you can clear the whole room and the DJ play music for y'all. Party.
Mm-hmm.
So that event sold out, and Chris told me, said, "Man, I'm selling out of food. I'm selling everything." Like, so that sparked Lynchburg, basically saying, "Okay, this is a real thing." And we just kept getting booked, man. I kept doing shows all through Virginia and then leaving the state and all that. So that's what comedy was doing for me.
Okay. So let's walk it back a little bit because I think it's important for people to know. So talk more about that experience of who was that person that kind of lit that fire to say, hey, I think you should get paid from this.
Man, that's very good that you went back to that, Jonathan, because I'm forgetting to shout him out. A close friend of mine named TC Christian. TC's not in entertainment or anything like that, but he's been a good friend of mine for over 13, 14, maybe 15 years now. And he was dead serious, you know. We would laugh and we would work a night shift and then we would get off in the morning and just like young folks, we playing video games in the morning, things like that. And I would, anything that's going on, I have an opinion and I have a different view of certain things.
Yeah.
So he would just be, we would laugh and laugh. And one day he's crying, laughing, and he's dead serious. He just wipes his face and is like, man, you need to do something with it. And to hear somebody really say that they believe in me, I think is what that fueled everything. You know what I mean? Because people will laugh with you or whatever, but somebody takes time with you and say, look, you should do this.
Yeah.
They put a battery in your back if you. That was very pivotal. That was everything.
Now, at that moment, did you see the vision, or was it more like, I don't see it, or did you like automatically just run with it?
I was already thinking about it. I didn't know where to start.
So
I didn't
he
know.
had confirmation for
He
you.
confirmed what I was thinking, definitely. And I didn't know what lane actually go down. And as a regular, I hate to say regular, but you're a regular guy, and all of a sudden you just dropping comedy videos out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It can be intimidating. So I used to think, what would people think about what I'm
just putting
doing?
yourself out there.
Yeah. So that was enough though, because I was already in love with entertainment. I had trained myself through school to sign up for programs to lead to this. I signed up for public speaking when I was young. I said I would need public speaking skills. I signed up for the debate team because I knew I wanted to be able to debate, go back and forth. I did some dramas and acting. My young days, the vision was always there, but how I was going to do this, who's going to notice me? I'm in Virginia, and you can attest to this. The internet blew up so much with social media.
Yeah.
We were able to be seen without making it to the TV screen.
Yep, without moving.
Yeah, the combination of all that definitely made the great formula.
Okay, so speak a little bit more about that. How important is it for someone right now, right? They might not have the confirmation that you had, but they have a little bit of self-doubt. How important is it to have the right people around you at that time?
See, that's the thing, and I heard this, I was watching television the other day, well, my phone, TikTok. The people who are doubting, the people who second guess your ideas too much, you may want to keep them at arm's length. And what I mean by that is, if you have a friend that's always saying, I don't know about that, I don't know if you should do that, it's really not productive for you to have around, especially in this lane. So it's very important to have people that's either A, ambitious as you are, B, doing what you're doing already.
Yeah.
Or C, just have an appreciation and truly want the best for you. Some people just want you to stay at the level that, they're currently at. If they're struggling and going through something, they love you because you're struggling and going through something too. But having people, it is very pivotal. And honestly, things are not as easy to see as you would like. It could be someone joking with you all the time, putting doubt on you, putting shame on you, and they package as a joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's very dangerous.
Yeah.
So start to learn, okay, man, I really don't need to be around this one too much. I really need to really have the right people around me.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might be some of your closest people that really don't, put a lot of confidence into you. So it's pivotal, man. It's one of the most important things, because if your circle ain't right, it's very hard to have success.
Yeah.
Playing, of course.
Yeah, because I've always lived by the principle that your mind is like a garden, right? So you're always subconsciously taking in seeds, right? And weeds do not need sunlight, do not need water to grow. So if someone's sowing that seed of negativity, it may not hit you now, but through your quest of trying to be a comedian, trying to be an entertainer, a mother, whatever the case is, that weed will grow when you're like, man, you know what? So-and-so was right.
Yes.
I shouldn't be out here. I shouldn't be doing this just because you're at that hard moment versus somebody sowing that seed of positivity.
Mm-hmm.
When you run into that hard time, be like, so-and-so was right. I need to push through.
Yes.
So
Before
talk
you go
about
on,
that.
I'll say this quote real quick. You know, pray. You got to pray on these things too. You have to pray on your surroundings. It's an old saying I used to say, watch out for your circle before they hurt you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be vigilant and pray for certain things because you may not be able to see through the fog. You know, if you do have faith, lean on that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So continue with your next.
Oh, no, you good. So how important is faith is very important to me. You know what I mean? Because like I said, we operate through faith just by us being here.
Yes.
How important has faith been for you to be at this table today?
I call it the second time around in entertainment. It has been, I will say, energizing. It has been fulfilling. It has been so worth it to make sure that I really have my faith first when I'm doing this. You know, I felt like I got to a point in entertainment to where I felt like I was succeeding everything that I wanted. My radio was doing great, acting tour was doing great, and I started to kind of lean on myself more. Got to feeling myself a little bit too much, and I feel like I was praying less. Wasn't going to the Lord as much as I was doing in the past. And so you got to be very careful with success too, to make sure you got to keep your core base of your faith. And I think personally, my accident that happened, it saved my life. I really do. I feel like the Lord had recentered me and humbled me to a place that I needed to be, to where I can really truly work hard and be what I'm supposed to be in this lane. You know, I feel like when I went through for the people at home, I went through a chemical fire accident that almost took my life 2 years ago. And 40% of my body's burned up and all that. But I really do, and I say this testimony when I go to different churches. The Lord came and spoke to me. You know, when I was going through, fighting for my life, He came and spoke to me on my third day in the ICU room. Like He sat me down, like right beside Him, like I was a child. You know, He told me that I gave you a talent, I gave you a gift, but I also gave you a responsibility. And what I mean by that is, I would go to nightclubs, I would go to places I know I probably shouldn't be comedy, whatever, whatnot, and I would leave Jesus at the door. I would say, you know what? I'm not going to bring up nothing to do with God. Lord, you stay here. This is not the place for this. And now, on my second time around with this journey, I take the Lord with me every single where I go. I try to remember, when people want to compliment you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, I used to, man, yeah, thank you. I'm doing my thing. I do this, appreciate it. Now hey, I give the glory to God.
Yeah.
He's put me here. So I'm very appreciative of the experience, the near-death experience that I went through. It has taken me to an entirely different level that I never dreamed of or expected.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's very pivotal to have your faith right there, your core right there with you, and go along through the process with your faith. You'll be just fine.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about that, your experience, because I had that a little bit down in the interview, but since you want to talk about it,
Yeah.
I would say most comedians pull from like moments of tragedy.
Yes.
Tragedy, right?
Yes.
So I heard you speak about your dad was absent, and now I'm hearing you speak about your near death experience, right? So could you go into the details of what exactly happened?
Okay. So long story short, I was in the print industry. I had a great career. 13 years in printing. I had worked and got my skills up to where I was at the pinnacle of my job. There was no higher to do what I was in my job, my field. And just long story short, in the blink of an eye, my machine, caught fire, and that fire got right to me. It was chemicals everywhere. That fire got right to me, and it went from being a minor situation.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little flame on my ankle. I had a helper. He grabbed an extinguisher and all that. Hit it real quick. Oh, get this on up off me real quick,
Mm-hmm.
This thing's not working.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, this flame is coming up a little bit. I noticed my work pants. I got chemicals all over it. Next thing you know, within seconds, flames went up, and I took off past him, to run to an area where I knew extinguisher should be on a forklift, about 30 feet away from my machine. And as I ran, the wind caught the flames that were small, went up like almost engulfing.
Giving it more oxygen.
Yeah. So, and at that point, I got to the area where the forklift was supposed to be, but that guy was on a different schedule that day, and the forklift was not there.
Gotcha.
And everybody's going on break. Me and my helper was the only person in that entire facility at that point. So there's nothing to help. So at that point in time, when I took off running, I didn't stop, drop, and roll in my area because it was chemicals all over the floor, and that was terrible, flammable chemicals.
Yeah.
When I got to that point, and I got to that area, and there was no forklift, and there's no extinguisher around, and my helper, he's panicking at this point. He is screaming, hollering, and I told him, I said, I'm going to hit the ground, but I knew with this chemical and this fire that wasn't good. So it was a moment where, I accepted death, and people may think that, you'll be terrified. It was, I wasn't terrified at all. I just literally said, wow, God, well, this is it. It ends here. Right when I hit that ground to roll around, whatever I could do, forklift man pops up right there. Somehow ended up right by the area and jumps off, hits me with the extinguisher. My life changed forever from when he hit me with 40% of my body was. I mean, this is traumatic trauma. It's traumatic. It's trauma to the body that you can't imagine. So I remember, at that point when he hit me with the extinguisher, I was leaned over on my side, and I rolled over. I could just look up. I could see fire on my machine, fire going up to the ceiling. It's almost a moment of shock. Look down at my entirely white. At this point, my helper had pulled my pants off me and the boots off me, so one of us catch on fire. Not to get too graphic here, but I'll bring you guys there. And it's hanging like string, like them old cowboy outfits, the jackets with the strings that hang on the jackets. That's what my skin looked like, arms and legs. So in that moment, I could see the shock and fear in my helper's eyes and my supervisor's eyes. I could tell it was bad. They never seen nothing like this. So in that moment, I thank God because I have resolve to where I'm never panicking and I'm always calculating and thinking. So the first thing I thought was, Train, you have highly flammable, highly dangerous chemicals on your bare wounds. You need to get to a hospital immediately. This could kill you. So I never forget. And at that point, they left me and ran to the fire. So I'm by myself. I got up. I remember there was 2 young guys that worked in the corner of the building. And I literally, all I had was a hoodie on and my boxers on and skin, I cannot emphasize enough, skin hanging like strings all over me and just white. And I'm limping and I'm trying to trot. And I went to the area where the 2 young guys was at. And when they saw me, man, imagine just chilling. They're on their phones. They're on TikTok. They're enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
And they just turned to their right. And this man is half dead beside them. His skin is gone. He looks. And I said, guys, we need to get to a hospital. And I'm really glad to tell the story. I never told this story in full in depth. And shout out to Elijah. He was one of the guys that was there. So they get me in the car. And I remember like yesterday, I'm in the back seat. I remember, the young kid had all type of stuff in his car. He was junky, whatever. But I remember I could feel every single thing that you can't imagine how you could feel in your bare skin. Like sitting on a soda bottle feels crazy. Or, you know what I mean? So I'm telling them, guys, we have to get to the hospital. I'm telling them which way you need to go. I said, guys, you got to call the police and tell them that you're going to be flying on 221 on this area so we can't get pulled over. And they're crying. They're sobbing. I'm sobbing. I'm like, guys, I'm trying to talk to them, trying to hold on. It's unimaginable pain. And so I got to Lynchburg General Hospital, Lynchburg General, and they looked like they had seen a ghost too. So, I got there and immediately they knew that they couldn't work on me. But they tried to get the chemicals, everything off me to get. So I just remember being worked on. I just remember the faces, these people look so scared. The workers, the doctors, they look terrified. And, it was so bad. I looked so bad that the helper who was with me, he was in the hospital room beside me. He had gotten PTSD. He was a
Just from
military
seeing
cat.
everything.
He was a military cat. And all that triggered a deep PTSD in him. And I could just hear him screaming and hollering like he had got burned.
Mm.
That's how dramatic that was. It was so bad that when my mother got there, they held her back in the lobby area and they asked her, like, we think we should show you pictures before you walk back. We really do. We want to prepare you for what you. And so, I texted my mom. I never thought she'd be that strong in that moment because she's a big softie. She loves family. But she saw those pictures and she came in there and she held it together when she came in. So I do remember excruciating pain. And I remember them hitting me with shots that's supposed to bring down the pain. I remember still feeling this pain at a high level. So that's when I realized, I said, guys, I looked at my legs and the white was shining. I said, guys, I have a highly flammable, highly dangerous chemical on my open wounds that's where the pain is at. Man, Jonathan, when I said that, them nurses got to running around, man. They came back in there with water, jugs, and rags, and they're scrubbing my open wound. They're scrubbing. You can't even imagine, right? So I will say through the midst of this, and this is how, my mother said she has no idea how I could be able to tell jokes or be me in that moment. When she came in that room, and it's mayhem, they're running around, it's emergency. I said, Mom, we're good. Don't worry about it. I said, the baby maker's fine and the money maker's okay. Right? I say that, right? And my mom said, I couldn't believe you said that. I like, what? And, that's just, I don't know, man. If it's going to end, I'm going to be me to the end.
Yeah.
So long story short, they end up sending me to VCU. And it was so bad that they couldn't fly me. The pilot said, you can't fly him. He has chemicals that's on him. No matter how much you scrub, it could be still fumes from his body. And we get to that high altitude, it could make me pass out while I'm flying this. I thank God for that pilot of thinking of that too, because that's something he thought of on his own. He rejected the hospital's request to fly me. So I'm telling you guys, us in that altitude, fumes on his body, I don't know what could happen.
Yeah.
So he might have saved my life by doing that, but it made the process much longer. For whatever reason, Lynchburg General didn't want to use their ambulance. They wanted VCU and Richmond to drive ambulance 2 hours to me and drive me 2 hours back. So it's ended up being like a 4 or 5, almost 6 hour experience of not knowing if you're going to live and going through a lot of pain.
Yeah.
My daughter, God bless her, I let her see me when I was in the ambulance and covered up. I just wanted her to see my face to know that, Dad's still dead. So, yeah. In VCU, I was told in the ambulance, because they finally gave me something to knock me out. When I woke up, I really appreciate the man in the ambulance for calming me down too. He told me, say, Anthony, your life is going to be changed forever. I'm just going to let you know this. You go in this hospital at VCU, you're about to have probably 10 doctors flying around you, everything. Because you're at a real pivotal point in this situation. It could go left or right. With these wounds and what's the magnitude of it. And no question, man, I got in there and there's doctors flying all over the place. And they got that look in their eye like, we got to work hard or this kid's he's not going to make it. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have some something that's going to take him out of here. So I just remember still somehow being myself. I remember them asking me a bunch of questions, just yelling, just random things you may hear of, what's your age? What's your weight? Do you have any allergies? I guess they're asking things because they're about to give me all these medicines. But I'm just wanting something to stop the pain. So I'm like, guys, come on, last question to ask. Any allergies? I just yelled out, yeah, fire. That's an allergy. I'm allergic to fire. Like, come on, man.
You ready to get to
it. But long story short, they calmed me down, and I just remember being knocked out, and I woke up in ICU with tubes all in me, everything you can imagine, Jonathan. And that process, I had to learn everything. I learned how to walk again. I had to use a feeding tube for a long time, maybe over almost a month. Catheter, you couldn't use the bathroom. You know what I mean? Everything that you can imagine that would go down in ICU, I was going through. It was just something that was it was a time you almost cannot believe what's going on. And then you're trying to process. what's going to happen now? How do I move on from this?
Yeah.
And to make it, even more interesting, that morning I was supposed to go to I was on tour for acting, and we had our last show in North Carolina. I was supposed to leave from work and go to North Carolina that day. So right when I looked at my arms, the backtrack, when I looked at myself on fire, Daniel Boxdale's he's not gonna believe this. I literally felt so bad. I said, I'm not gonna make this show. I'm not gonna make this show. I'm gonna let everyone down. They cannot do this production with a main actor missing out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And my first two calls was to my mom and to Daniel Boxdale. And I would do motivational speeches for that group before every show. And I still gave them my motivational speech that first morning in the hospital fighting for my life. I could barely get words out. I still got on that phone with them. They all hear me on speakerphone. And now I don't know what I said, but, they remember, and it was very powerful. It was from my heart. They all, cried and cried and cried, and attested them. They got through that show that day. Shout out to Kevin. Kevin's our sound audio guy. He somehow did my part to get through this show. They had to improvise, like have him hold a book so he kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that moment right there, I just felt so much sorrow as far as my life in entertainment.
Yeah.
And everything, my life period. So yeah, Jonathan, get through that process. Going through that process. Everything's extremely painful. Everything's extremely hard. My second night there, I throw up and choke on a feeding tube. That almost took me out of here. A feeding tube that came up my stomach as I threw up in the middle of the night and knotted up in my throat. And my call button had fell off the bed behind me, and I can't walk. I can't nothing. And it's a dark room, and the curtains are closed. And it's 2:30 in the morning, and there's nobody walking around. And I literally said, "Wow, Lord, at this point, I'm supposed to die. Fire happened yesterday. Now I'm choking to death right now." I never forget. I remember calming down, slowing my breath down, and just started making mouth noises like
Trying to get somebody's attention.
By the grace of God, it just happened. A nurse wasn't even supposed. She said I wasn't even supposed to be on the floor. I forgot something. I forgot something. At that point, they leave that area just quiet and dark for a lot of hours through the night. Get your call button. Somebody come in. She so happened to come back, and she heard me making that noise, and she opened up that door, and she saw me, and she see like vomit. And, oh my God, you threw up. Tube. And she realized, she said, "Oh my God, your tube is." So in that moment, it's mayhem. The nurses run in, they're flying in. I never forget this moment right here. They got that supervisor, whoever was above them. They're like, "We got to pull this tube out of him right now. We got to cut one part off his nose and pull. Got to pull it all through his nose." That lady, the supervisor, stopped in the midst of that, and she said, "Guys, I don't have authorization." Nurses, I never forget. One laid out. She just grabbed the scissors like over top of her boss, grabbed them, and went to work, snipped something off, connecting from my nose and mouth, and she started pulling it
out.
And that was a crazy experience in itself. So, yeah, my family was there, for all of this. I was in Richmond, so they would come. They was there the next morning. They had to redo the tube and all that. And shout out to Kirsten Fuddy and Michael Fuddy, two good friends of mine. Kirsten held my hand, my homeboy's wife. We like my sister. She held my hand the whole time. They had to redo that tube thing because that was a process in itself. So, yeah, man, I can't make this story short. It's just, it's so much to it.
It's all good.
But, to get through it and not be too long-winded, I want to say this part for sure. Like I said earlier, my third day is when the Lord came to me. Because there's a point in time where I'm wondering, when is the Lord going to talk to me about why this? And by that third morning, is the middle of the night, and I tell people to this day, you can't tell me the Lord's not real. There's nothing that anybody can ever say to me. After that experience it's so powerful when you're in the presence of the Lord. I felt like I was like this, leaning down. I felt like he was beside me. But you feel in that moment, you feel so unworthy. You don't even feel that you can even glance up and even look at him. That's what it felt. That's how powerful it felt.
Yeah.
And Like I said earlier, he told me what I was here for. And then he gave me a vision. And I saw a vision of me just speaking in front of all these people all around the world, people. And I woke up in a lot of tears. And nurses, they're jumping around. They're like, oh, my, your girl's right there. She's like, everyone's like, are you okay? You're in pain? And I was rejoicing.
Mm.
I know now he talked. I know my purpose. I know what's going on. And they end up sending a reverend to me. They had just pastors in that VCU hospital that would talk to certain people. And I never forget this little 80-some-year-old lady come in there, and I told her my testimony, and she looked at me and she said, Anthony, I've been doing this 50 years. Probably the most powerful testimony I've ever. She's crying. She said, Anthony, my phone was sitting to the side. She said, that thing over there, that phone, you need to get on that. You need to go to whatever you guys are on these social media. You need to get that story out to as many people as possible. And that led to fuel me to go talking to churches. That lady in that. So, to go through all of that, end up the walking thing, I didn't even all the way get 100% walking well to after being out the hospital. I spent Thanksgiving in ICU. It was very dark. I couldn't see my child for 2 months straight because they didn't allow children in that area. And that was the hardest part for me right there, not seeing my child care. She's 11 years old now, and it was really hurting her too. She would send me just pictures and videos of us every single night. Every night she would just send me pictures, send me videos. So it was a very huge moment when I finally, was able to get out and see her. And here's the thing, Jonathan. I was thinking, how am I going to do this acting? Who wants to hire the guy with the sleeves and all this? Daniel Boxdale offered me my second contract when I was in the hospital. They were supposed to go on tour the next year, very next year. My recovery was going to take at least a year. Daniel Boxdale put the entire production on hold, all these obligations, all these venues he had talked to. It could have put his career in jeopardy, not staying in the flow. You know how it goes. You get out the flow at one moment, next thing you know, it's not the same when you get back to it. He put his entire production on hold for a year and a half and said, Anthony, I'm not doing this until you're 100% ready. That put a light in another, that put fuel in me to work as hard as I possibly can. I was always very overly serious when I do my crafts or my work. I'm a jokester in person online, but I'm very serious about craft my work. I want to be prepared. I want to be ready. So, yeah, honestly, everything happens for a reason. I still look at, my little marks and scars. Think about burn victims, burn survivors. I like coin that phrase better. You can go through something with an accident or anything, and you move on mentally or physically. Or with a burn survivor, you see it every day. You're going to see it. There's no escaping. So that's another set, of obstacles for me. And in the physical part, I never would imagine that it would be this hard to be back regular again. So I still go through things every day, different pains here and there. And, my legs might get a little too stiff, but I just stay working, stay moving, because somebody didn't make it through that fire.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Somebody didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? And I was in the ICU room, and I couldn't feel sorry for myself because right beside me, there was a 2-year-old child who had gotten burned up somehow, accident. And I would hear them working on that 2-year-old child every night, the child scream. You know what I mean? Because they got to do, wound care, which is a very, very painful process. For the people at home, burn survivors, they go through a lot. Wound care is basically if you have open, have wounds, it's wrapped up, that's cool, fine. But every single day they want to unwrap it and they want to scrub it, clean it every single day.
Wow.
It's a very, very painful process. Getting back into showers is a very, very painful process. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And, mentally, the Lord just kept me there. My family and the Lord, man. My mother, my Aunt Curry, my family, really, my brother, my cousin MJ, the Daniel Boxdale crew, the whole production crew came to see me. That kept me mentally going. And in the midst of this, my career denies the workers' comp. So not only am I fighting for my life now, financially, I'm thinking my career's gone, and I don't know how to get over this $700,000 bill that's sitting there looking at me from VCU.
Yeah.
That was a depressing moment when, they talk about wheelchairs, they're lining up what, the workers' comp going to pay for, and their representative from VCU walked into that room. She had a look of sob in her eyes, and she said, "Anthony, your job's not paying." I said, "I'm sorry. What do you mean? Like, I've been doing printing for 13 years. They know me. Like, I thought we was family. I'd done everything by the book. Even I had pointed out that the way we were doing this job is dangerous. We're using a different chemical on this job that we have too many flammable variants around here." And I had text messaged me saying to supervisor, so I couldn't believe that, what I was telling them could happen to me, and then they denied my workers' comp.
Yeah.
So that was the lowest point. And I cried. I don't cry. I cried then. And because, it's like, okay, my future, I don't know. So, long story short, my cousin Annette, she's a well-known doctor in Richmond area. And I think you need to go to court. That's what ended up happening. I ended up, shout out to Marks and Harrison law firm in Richmond, Virginia. Those guys heard my story on a Friday, and by Monday they called me and said, "We're taking your case." I said, "I don't have any money. It's pro bono. You got this." And I thank the Lord for everything I went through. And that entire case was done in 6 months.
Yeah.
And so now I can fully focus on my passions and not worrying about clocking in for somebody else. My thing is, and I'll never do that job again, because my rule is if I almost die on the job, time to go. I didn't have to be a policeman. I didn't have to be a firefighter or anything like that. I have family. I have a child to be here for. So I knew that was gone. So I'm thanking the Lord after the fact, because now I have all this time to do everything that I wanted to do that I couldn't do. So everything happens for a reason. And, I don't have any ill will towards anybody either that may have done me wrong in that process. At the end of the day, you almost got to thank them, honestly, because, the growth that you have in the end of overcoming obstacles, overcoming people doing you wrong, man, it builds so much character.
Yeah.
And so definitely, where we're at right now, so you segue if you need to move on, but it brought me to this point to where I can do what I love and I can really hone in on it, So yeah, everything's a go now, from public speaking to acting and comedy, my sports gambling page, wedding reception host. I do that too. And I just learned the gist of things. I learned the LLC, get your business together, get your business right. So I have 2 LLCs, Train Files LLC and That Boy Good Entertainment LLC. And yeah, man, that's where it's at right now. And I'm very thankful.
Yeah, so let's go back to that accident for a second. Like March of last year, March 15th, I had a brain tumor removed, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So being diagnosed 2 years prior, it's like this level of uncertainty. Okay. You know what I mean? So having to operate, I remember the day when they told me, like, yeah, it's time for us to go in and get it. And things start to set in, you know what I mean? So being diagnosed and just watching, wait, okay, cool, life is normal. When they told me that, it didn't really set in, right? Because it was like early November. So when we decided to have the surgery to be March, that way we can get through the holiday, Christmas.
Okay.
Then we'll tell the family when it gets right before, because we don't want to, damper anybody's time, and then they're asking questions.
Okay.
But the amount of worry I had was different. Leading up to that, I didn't know what fear was. Like the stuff I was fearing was dumb stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Like what people would think.
Yeah.
I was like, I wouldn't even say it was fear. I think it was more anxiety, because when God blessed me with this situation, to have my head cut open, and then you look at the risk of down on the table, having a stroke, aneurysm, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So talk about the mindset, because it really blessed me with the mindset that I have now, because I didn't know what fear was. Like when I look back at that, I'm like, man, I can do anything now.
Man,
if I can
mindset.
come out of that, I can come out like, what are you going to throw at me?
All of that, and you can attest to this, going through near-death experiences, you really see what life is, and you really see what matters and what doesn't.
Yep.
You're here one time. That's what it let me know for sure. You're here one time. And what people think, I really want to emphasize this to my young creators. It does not matter what they think at all. The next day, they're going to get up, they're going to go to work, they're going to be around their family, they're going to do their daily routines, and they're not going to think about you. Tried this content video that didn't work like you wanted to. You may have looked stupid today. That's all right. Once you go through experiences like that, and hopefully people can hear stories like mine and yours, and they can learn from hearing a story instead of going through it. But just know that, this part of your life, and I got to do a real shout out to my good friend, Day Williams. This point in your life is like a grain of salt in a beach of eternity. So whatever you're going through, whatever you think is the end of the world or whatever, it's literally a grain of salt, a grain of sand on a beach of eternity of your lifeline, of your timeline of life after death, whatever you believe in. So that's what helped me to go to a much higher level with what I'm doing. No question.
So when you look back, right, and I remember having that moment where, we were driving to the hospital. I just remember seeing the lights because we had to leave at like 3 a.m, get there by 5. And I just remember the day before, because I took 2 days off of work, and I'm just wasn't telling my wife. I was just soaking stuff in. Like, what if this is it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I had a peace about it, but it's like I had to be real with myself. And like, did you use all the opportunities God gave you? The answer was no, right? And so at that point, if I did die on the table or whatever, it would have been like some type of regret there, right?
Yes.
Like I died half full or whatever, right? And so thinking about it now, and it's like, okay, now I got a second chance. Like you talked about, I don't care what people think anymore. I just want to go in, get the content or whatever, and make the impact. So could you talk about that?
Yeah, because the thing is, Jonathan, you can't believe it's that fast. You can't believe life is that fast when it happens. You're like, this is it. This is that. Like, I get no more chance, nothing else. So that's the main thing right there. And I got to do a shout out VCU Hospital, man. There's a particular doctor. He's the top surgeon there. He's also like a CEO there. He doesn't have to do surgeries anymore. He's something big, behind the scenes too. He still works hard every single day on saving people's lives. So I'll never forget, I had to have 3 to 4 skin grafts done. And the more they spread these grafts out, the more time you're going to be there, all this stuff. So I'm going in for my first skin graft. I'm supposed to get 1 skin graft. And I never forget, I'm in this room. I'm in the hospital bed they roll you around in. And like you said, I'm just looking up at the lights in the dark room. They got lights. I'm just looking. And the doctor, I'll remember his name eventually, but he walked up to me he has the most calm, sensing voice. He had his mask on, he's ready for surgery. He said to me, Anthony, what are you thinking about? And hopefully I don't get it. If I do, I looked at him and I said, I just want to see my daughter. I just want to see my kid. Thinking about And he said, Anthony, you know why I still do surgeries, even though I work behind offices that I don't have to do. I still wonder why I still do surgeries, even at my position. So why? He said, for guys like you, the ones that's trying to make a kid, the ones that's trying to make home to their daughter, that's why I do this. And he tapped me on the shoulder. He said, don't you worry about this kid. Fine. That day, he didn't do one at all. I was supposed to be in that surgery room for 3 hours. I was in 12 hours. He had, after 1 graft was done, he had pushed the rest of the doctors in that room to do all 4 skin grafts that day because he said that will shorten my timeline of being in this hospital. And that shortened my timeline by probably a month with him making that move and that decision that day. So I will forever, thank him, and the Lord put these angels in your life, man.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes it can be overwhelming when you think about things that you can't control and how they go down. And so that moment right there, I said, okay, Lord, I said, I already knew you was here with me, but I see it all now. I'm going to get out of this, and I'm going to make something really, and I'm going to do it for your glory. Like people are going to hear your name, wherever I go. So that was very, very major to me. So you continue.
Yeah. So how would you say now, right? Bringing it back to now, you went through the tragedy, right? and using that tragedy as comedy? Because you seem like when my family came in during the recovery, I was tripping because I could see the doom on their face.
Okay.
I'm all messed up, you know. I got head cut open, and I had to make them laugh because I don't want to be like, I need somebody to lift me up, and I'm gonna just be silly to the point they told me to shut up. So that's when I knew, okay, like we are good. I'm good, even though I don't look good. You know, I'm good. So tell me how you incorporate all of that into the entertainment.
Well, for one, I'll say this. It's very interesting you say that. To have someone finally crack a joke, and that's what your circle is everything. My friend Day Day Williams, and looking back on it, I really appreciate it then, I appreciate it now. Like you said, everyone's looking at you with the I feel sorry for you eyes, oh my God eyes. No matter how much they try to say strong, everything's fine, you can feel how, they're scared. I never forget, this is my first week in the hospital. I somehow end up on the phone. He's a nonchalant guy. He's very calculating, very smart. He goes, hey, Train, I forgot to ask you this. Could you, when that fire was on you, could you smell yourself cooking? I said, I'm sorry, Dave. I said, what? He said, I just wonder, could you smell yourself cooking and did it smell like food or what? And I instantly started laughing. And I'm like, are you being I'm fighting for my life right here, Dave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he starts laughing. He's like, oh man, I just got to pick you up a little bit. But that moment with somebody not treating me like an accident, a bad victim, that brought normalcy to me.
Yeah.
And I definitely use my pain for comedy. I got one of these bits I do when I go, on road or whatever. It's like fire victims. We go through things that no other people go through with their accidents.
Yeah.
The car accident people don't go through what we go through as far as nobody trusts you with fire anymore. Nobody trusts you with matches. Nobody trusts you with anything remotely flammable anymore once you go through a fire. It's like the car accident people. Nobody says they shouldn't drive cars anymore. Yeah. Nobody has a problem with them driving a car. But with fire victims, I give you a prime example. Lighting the grill 4th of July, cooking, they not asking me to do it. They're not letting me do it. That's dead. That's not happening. That's not happening at all. Birthday parties, my child's birthday parties, time light candles and all that. They got little glow-in-the-dark candles that don't even have a flame on it. You blow them and they slowly dim on out. Yeah. And I say this on stage, let's think about this. Do we really do this with every accident? If you fall in the snow in the winter, or excuse me, you fall in a flight of steps or whatever, are you forever banned from steps? Do you need to do elevators? If you fall in the snow in the wintertime, what do? Do you avoid winters for 6 months out the year? What do you hibernate like a freaking North American grizzly bear every year? So what do you do? So yes, I definitely take all of my pain and bring it with me on the road, and I think that's helped a lot with my therapy, and that's helped a lot with my comedy, because people see you being vulnerable and talking about those moments in that light. Really appreciate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So how do you balance the integrating the serious topics into your comedy without the audience losing any interest? Like what is that balance like?
So here's the thing. You want to establish yourself in the beginning. And what I mean by that is when you're doing stand-up, you want to make sure you come out there assertive. You don't want to come out there looking unsure. You want to stake your place. So what I do, I will get a laugh early. So, okay, this guy's funny. He's worth me giving my attention to. Then I know, okay, I got your attention. I'm going to take you down this lane right here. And don't worry, it's going to get somewhere great. And there could be little nuggets in there to kind of pique their interest while you're talking serious. But in the end, you'll get there. You can feel the room also. You can feel some rooms to where they just want it. Bam, bam, joke, joke, joke. They don't want that. But some of my crowds I have, so I've been able to become versatile. I may have an elderly crowd, a little more patient. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of
they spent their money. They want to enjoy their time, so they're down to go down that road with you to get to a joke. Well, my younger shows, they just want it. They want you just bam, 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 bam. Don't take too long. I tell my comedians this: fill the room, because if you're not prepared for that room. I'll never forget, I went through an instance where I'm working Hill City, it was called Hill City Pub at the time. Hill City Grill, something like that. I never forget, it had me and my comedians, we about to go do our thing, we've been on tour, and all of us were expecting a young black crowd. So my guys have wrote for a young black crowd. when we got to that venue, we looked in that room, and it's middle-aged white people. It's middle America, right? A lot of my crew was like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, how do you adjust to that?
How, and myself, I had worked and trained myself so much to be prepared and so many routines in my head that I threw that routine I had, whatever, to the side. We have middle America material. And, some of my guys, God bless them, man. They went up there and they pitched their stuff and they kept their routine like for a young crowd. And it won't work and it won't fly. And they would come back to me like, good luck out there. So I would tell these are keys for comedians. If you're dealing with a middle American crowd, whether it's white or whatever, there are main topics that we're all going to feel relatable. Marriage, family life, your children, career, job jokes, anything like that. Because that's something that American can tie into. Everyone can tie into.
Yeah.
So I used that, and I went to politics, in which you would think would be dangerous. But my lane was to speak and say a joke about each side. So I had jokes prepared for the Republican side. I had jokes prepared against the Democratic side. I had jokes prepared against the independent side. And the independent ended with me speaking to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, Bernie Sanders is running again. And I sat back and thought about it. I thought didn't Bernie die? I thought Bernie died in '96. So I made a joke about Bernie being. I thought Bernie was dead. So that broke the ice, and I was ready and able. So if you're gonna be in this lane, I'll just say, work hard enough so you're never nervous. The more you prepare, the less nervous you are. Preparation takes away nerves. So that's what I would do in my lane. So I'm ready for anything. Church crowds, nightclub crowds, anything.
So how important is it being authentic in your performance? Because basically what you just said, what I heard you say is talk about life. Talk about what you've been through. Don't create this fantasy. You will do fine talking about your life where people can relate to.
People can tell, when you're not being authentic and you're trying to buy laughs, as I like to say. When they feel like they can enjoy listening to you and it feels like a treat, it feels like this is a look inside of this man's vision of life. That's way more endearing than me trying to just sell you jokes that I just put together on the fly or whatever the case may be. So being authentic is everything. And hey, find the things in your life that your shortcomings. Talk about your shortcomings. Talk about your failures. Point them out, because you'll be shocked at how many people have failed just like you too many times. So that's my main thing. And my main thing, I do want to say this too, Jonathan. Don't be too personal. What I mean by that is, I worked with, one comedian one time years ago, and he went on stage and he wanted to just rip the mother of his child. And it's a 20-minute rip session on her. And it's uncomfortable in the room. So I say don't be too personal, because no one wants to go down a lane, and I don't want to overuse the word toxic, but of toxic material. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to laugh with you. I don't want to feel like I'm trying to laugh at somebody that you have a disdain for. So you can be personal, as in letting people know a look inside of your life, but your personal vendettas, I wouldn't go on stage and go too hard on them. I would let your success talk for you. Let your success get back at whoever that you felt may have done you wrong. That's a big point I want to tell the young people.
Okay. So as far as creating your brand, could you explain why train?
So I was in 8th grade. My mother had always encouraged us to get out there and be active. Sports, school activities, whatever. So I played football from the age of 6 years old all the way till I graduated. And about 8th grade, a teammate of mine, shout him out, Calvin Hunter, we leaving practice, and Calvin's like, he's real country and suave and cool. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna start calling you A-Train. I looked at him and I said, that's terrible. Don't call me that. Like that. What is that? What is that? He's like, it's a guy in the NFL named Anthony Thomas. Call him A-Train. Yeah, I like that name for you too. And I remember saying, I don't like it. I don't want it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it spread, man. And everyone started calling me that. And by high school, the A dropped off, and it was just Train. And I have now looking back on, I have to thank him for the branding. I was just Anthony Johnson before. You know what I'm saying? But now Anthony Train Johnson, it helps out a lot. So I'm glad you asked that, Jonathan. A lot of people wonder that, and I don't even take time to voice that. You know what I'm saying? It's not nothing crazy. It came from sports, no question.
Got you. So what are some of your future goals? Because I know you're tied into like comedy, acting, and then your personal entertainment as far as your own brand. So what are some of your future goals if you had to look 5 years from now?
I want to present to people Train Files LLC as a real network, as a well-oiled machine that can provide so many different services, for people. So by doing this, I want to create longevity in this career. So whether it's, podcasting, or you need an actor, or you need a public speaker at a venue, or you need a wedding reception host. And I'm also I'm vice chairman on the advisory board for social services and Appomattox. If you need help with social life, anything like that, I want to be able to be that entire umbrella for a lot of people. And that's the whole idea of Train Files. That hashtag I started when I was 17 years old. I started saying this is going to be a file of my stuff. I'm going to say Train Files for each one of these videos. And I kept it over the years, and I LLC'd it. And I really think this year is going to be very pivotal on bringing that to the next level, to the forefront of what I want to do.
Okay. So who are your inspirational figures?
Mine here.
Give me at least 3.
Dave Chappelle. Comedians or anything?
Anything.
Dave Chappelle. My grandma, Dorothy Davis. And I would honestly have to say my twin brother is
Twin brother?
My twin brother's a big inspiration to me.
Could you go in on why?
The guy works so hard, does so much, and wants no attention. He is the most selfless person as far as wanting someone to look at him or doing, anything like that. He's well accomplished, and he went to the Air Force. He does cyber intelligence for the Air Force. He does cyber intelligence for different companies, dealing with FBI, whoever. I make a joke that he's a secret spy or something. He doesn't tell me. I don't know what he does, the details, but I know he does cyber intelligence, things like that. And he never, wanted any attention for anything. He's been able to have a lucrative career. He has beautiful cars and stuff. He don't try to show them off. And when I went through what I went through, my brother was the first one there to say, hey, whatever bill you're worrying about, don't worry about it. I'm paying it next whatever.
Gotcha.
He took my whole car payment, $400 some odd dollars. He's added that bill to his life. You know what I'm saying? So I will say he don't even know this. He'll look at this and hear this, and he don't even post on social media. You know what I mean? He'll see this and probably shocked to hear that. But I will say he is, man, just to see that, and that be my twin brother, that helped out a lot, But I will say this, I want to say the lane of comedy, I got to say Cat Williams inspired me a lot. Just being authentic, being real, being you. And this is random. Stephen A. Smith helped out a lot. I know it sounds crazy. I thought I was going to be a sports analyst at first. That's what I loved, right? But I just love the fact that I would listen to him and he would articulate himself. I know sometimes he could be outlandish.
Yeah.
But the way he would articulate himself and use certain words that I would never normally hear, it made me think to open up my vocabulary when I'm working on things like this.
Yeah.
So I will say he was a big inspiration when I wanted to bring my stuff to a level of, oh, you have an in-depth vocabulary too. You know what I mean? So that's somebody too, I'll say. You wouldn't think about it, but when I sit down and think about it now, he was a big inspiration too. But yeah, that's and I'm fans of different entertainers, of course. Jamie Foxx. I can't figure Jamie Foxx. Before we move on, let me say Jamie Foxx.
Multi-talented.
Jamie Foxx and Flip Wilson is the epitome of my craft. What I mean by that is to be so versatile, have passions for all these things and work hard. Jamie Foxx with the singing, acting, comedy, And I look at myself in the same type of way, comedy, public speaking. I mean, I used to even I used to always be a rapper one day. I used to do well,
Mm-hmm.
but Jamie Foxx is a huge inspiration on, and now of course, you can speak to this. We don't glorify these entertainers, like
Yeah.
idolize them, but we do pick off certain things that we
Certain
notice,
things, yep.
So yeah, Jamie's he's a huge, huge inspiration to me. I can't forget it all.
Okay. So when you think about legacy and what that means to you, what do you want people to remember the most about you?
That I cared. And what I mean by that is everything that I'm doing with anybody, whether it's small or it's big, I am well invested for the betterment of you, the betterment of what you want to get done. It's not just a check to me. It's not just a stop by to me. I really care about my surrounding and making a positive impact on the people I come across. You know, impact is way more valuable than money. You know?
Mm-hmm.
What will they think of when they look at me? I want them to think of a stand-up man, godly man, family-oriented man, and somebody that you really can call a good-hearted person. That's
So,
very, very big to me. I'm very big on my representation, what I indulge in, what I'm around, what I'm doing. I'm very conscious of that. So that's what I would definitely say when I speak of my legacy. When they think of Train Files, they think that he cared. He's a hard, authentic worker. He has a love. My reason why I'm here, guys, is because I have a love for the game. People that I know that were starving for fame,
mm-hmm.
they didn't get it when they wanted, flamed out, they doubted, they quit. You have to have a love, a passion for the craft,
Yeah.
and the inconsistency. The difference between me and a lot of people that was doing what I was doing is that I kept going. You know what I mean? I didn't let nothing stop me. I didn't let
Mm-hmm.
COVID, didn't, when that was shutting down everything, and I was doing comedy shows like I told you about, then bam, COVID, some things. I segued to radio. Shout out to Tony Cam. Tony Cam is the reason why I have a very well-loved show because he taught me radio etiquette. He taught me discipline, and he don't even know this. And he taught me professionalism. Um, I really was a fan of everything that Tony Cam did out here. And when I actually met him in person, you know what I'm saying, I kind of felt like, like, wow, this is Cam. And he believed in me from day one. He offered me to join his Radio 44 show. And he put so much confidence. I already felt confident, but Tony would say things like, man, when you come in the room, man, you just light the whole room up, man. Man, I love working with you, man. You could take this whole thing over. Do what do what you want. Tony would put so much confidence in you. And he's so good at what he does that, I said, I'm not letting this guy down. And so I'm very thankful for the opportunity because I went from doing one show with Tony Cam on Radio 44 to doing all 3 to 4 shows that they would have that morning. So I would get there at 7:45 in the a.m. and I wouldn't leave probably 1 p.m. And I would do work, and I would be prepared for anything. First show I was on, 3 different people. I'm the color commentary, if you will. I'm the one that says the funny material, whatever. But we have a fashion lady or whatever. We got a sports guy, whatever. I would have things written down for each one of them just in case somebody ain't show up. Somebody ain't do their homework.
Preparation.
So I never figured this with Tony really, it's okay. This kid's serious. We had a show. I'm on the show. It's called The Be Rich Show. One of our guests, the lady doesn't show up. She's not here. We don't know. Supposed to go on air in 10 minutes. She has a whole segment that she starts the show with. She was doing celebrity gossip at that time. Tony's like, oh, man, I don't know. I guess we got to skip it and make the show shorter. I said, we're good. I got her stuff written. And Tony probably remember this. He's like, I'm sorry, what? I said, we're good. Her segment. I got her segment. I'll do mine. I'll do hers. I have everything written down for this. And he's like, all right, let's roll. Like, all right, roll. Like, okay. Being overly prepared, has gotten me very far. So I can't go, without thanking him. So Radio 44 goes down after the comedy. COVID hit with Radio 44. The venue was hard to get. You know how it was with COVID. So Tony's like, my hands are tired, guys. I can't get the venue like I want, whatever. I said, man, I'm not stopping. I learned and got keys the keys I got from him. I'm gonna figure this out on my own. I'm just telling him I'm gonna keep moving, man. I was like, that's when I started Candy. And I ended up being on it was a thing called Twin Syndicate Radio with some guys out here in Madison Heights. And I work
twins, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
yep.
I work with them for I would say about 40 or 50 episodes. And as I'm working and I'm realizing, man, I wanna do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And reason why, because there's chain of command, there's certain times where I say, hey, I might want to do this show right now.
Yeah.
Do it right now and all. And I would say, you know what, I need to figure this out.
Yeah.
So I did thank them, so I will take time to thank everybody that was in my journey. And and I made Candid Talk there, and I just took that and moved on. I got on this thing called the Spreaker app. I learned everything about it. Much love to them, honestly. And I kept it going. And I'm on episode 147, but I probably have done about 220 at least radio. Maybe more than that. So yeah, and once you get that itch, man, and you get to going,
Yeah.
nothing can stop you.
Yep.
So in the midst of that, doing radio's going well. Comedy, stand up, I'm still doing that here and there. I was offered to do some work for the Miller Center, Miller Park, the center or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They basically wanted some comedy. They had this. They wanted to do some type of little commercial, or whatever. So it was an opportunity. I didn't believe it. So I went and I did that. Through that, a man named Jamon Haskins. Jamon is on my cast now. Jamon reached out to me and said, "Hey, the man named Daniel Boxdale. He does stage play production. Thank you. Try this." Told Daniel about me. I came in for audition. I got the job. So it's a timeline that I see happening, and I said, "This has to be."
Yeah.
How is this going this way? Every time I think things are going to slow down, some other bigger opportunity comes on. So yeah, it's a quick timeline of videos, stand-up, radio, acting, and then the public speaking really took off after my accident, and I was going to these churches. Before that, I was doing public speaking as like activist work.
Yeah.
Going to communities. You know how it was with the height of police brutality and the back and forth relations with minorities and police. I really felt some type of way. And I couldn't sit behind my phone. I couldn't. So I got my boots on the ground, started reaching out to people, working with people. Shout out Chris Tweedy, Stephon Brown. They put a group together called Freedom Fighters. And what we would do is Freedom Steppers. What we would do, we would go to inner cities, stricken hoods, whatever, teach people how to register, how to vote. Teach people how to actually get down to that poll, because you would be shocked at how many people don't know where to go, don't know what to do, or nothing. So we was in the midst of COVID, going door to door. I'm talking about we're in Rivermont, Birchwood, Darrington, and it's not safe to be running and knocking on doors. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we was doing. And, I went to Appomattox and done work with them with Appomattox Equality. And, I had a passion for that, So all that stuff, man, is all that was great experiences for me to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's all about keeping all this stuff going. It's all about always have something to do. And I'd be remiss if I don't shout out my sports gambling page. That's my baby right there. Gamblers Anonymous is something that I thought of years ago to my sports heads. I said, instead of us sitting at home by ourselves and we try our little bets and then we get to work next day and, I lost like this, I lost like that. So why are we not working together and kind of putting some of these ideas together? And why don't we really, I got some experts. Like I feel like I'm an expert at sports gambling. Hercules Handy, he's an expert at college football and NFL and baseball. And I put together a team and we help people learn how to responsibly sports gamble, not spending a lot of money to do or whatever. But that's my baby right there. I feel like Gamblers Anonymous, that page has people from all over the country. People recognize me when I go out from that more than my entertainment stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of avenues, a lot of passion for these avenues. And I'm very excited for, opportunities that I have in front of me. So and I'm loving the work, John. I'm loving the process.
Oh yeah, that's really what it's all about. Like once you love that process, man, anything comes. And a lot of people see us on these cameras, And they think it's easy, man, but it's a
Yes.
lot of sacrifice, a lot of hard work. Because if they seeing you now, like if they see us now when they watch this episode, there was a time where we had to go what I call in the cave and cook everything up. So no, I can't go out right now. No, I can't watch TV right now. No, I haven't seen that show yet because I'm cooking something up for you guys.
Yeah. And a lot of people, they want to let Jonathan do all this work and get to a certain point and call up Jonathan like, hey, they don't do nothing. They don't do entertainment, no pod, no nothing. Hey, I want to do a show. I want to do something. You know, I want to do this. I want to do that. And it's like, my brother, you can take time, literally make your own podcast too. Everyone can.
Yep.
And you could put out, you know, what you want to do. Of course, I want to, you know, help out and bring on people that don't have a light. But, you know, some people, you know, may not have, you know, the best to offer, especially on your platform.
Yep.
You know, it might not be positive material. It might not be something that you want to, you know, engage in. And I tell people, look, you can grab life by the horns. However you want to do this thing, you can do it. You know, just like Jonathan took time to figure out what you wanted to figure out to get your brand off the ground. Anyone.
Yeah. Got to
You
put
know,
that time in.
Got to put the time in. So you do have to be careful because, you know, I will say, especially now with my life has changed a lot. Like, you know, my finances changed a lot. And people know when your finance changed a lot. You know, people have changed on me. People, you know, people I had a lot of love for, you know, don't have the same love for me.
Yeah.
You know, and it hurt me for a while. You know, losing some people that I had around me for years. And, you know, and me, I'm a very authentic and loving person. And if I'm wrong, I always would say I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting back, I'm looking at all these situations. I'm like, well, I didn't do anything wrong there. Oh, that person expected me to give them a lot of money for nothing. This person actually asked for, like, hey, I want 10,000, something crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, your people that's there for you, whenever you go through anything, they want the best for you. They're not thinking about themselves first. They're not thinking, oh, Jonathan went through this. He's well off now. Hey, Jonathan, what's up, man? We can, you know, come on, brother. We can do this, that, third. No, it doesn't work like that. So I will say this, though. The Lord, and people need to hear this at home, because some of you guys are dealing with certain relationships that you've lost, certain friendships that you lost. You're either down about it, you don't understand, bitter about it, whatever the case may be. Just know that the Lord is removing people from your life that he feels is taking you down, that's holding you back.
Yep.
He's removing certain things that you would never see in a million years from you for a reason. And some of those things may hurt. It may be a relationship you believed in a lot. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I can attest to that, you know, to give y'all good content, as I like to say. I remember dating a lady, a female, and she knew my lane I was in. She was all excited about it when she first met me. But when we started dating, she started slowly ticking away at, why do you have to do another video? Why do you feel like you need to be doing this comedy? Oh, you're in your 30s now. You're not rich off of this. Why are you still doing it? It was very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because that started to dim my light. And I started to not believe in myself as much. I started to feel like my timeline is over.
Yep.
You know, we was thinking we supposed to be famous, or not famous, but rich and well off by 25. You 20 years old, your timeline, you thinking about 20. It's really crazy how we thought when we was young.
That's very young.
You know, but you're not prepared for that. Mentally, if the Lord gave you that at that point in time,
You squandered it, man.
you might have hurt yourself. I said, thank God I didn't have the things that I wanted at 24, 25. I might not even be. You might have been so reckless that you buying stuff and boats and crazy stuff that you know, motorcycles or whatever. You might hurt yourself if things go your way. You have to go the Lord's way.
Yep.
So to my people at home, man, just know whoever's around you right now that's supposed to be there. And please, you know, especially in the dating world, if you're dating, you got to have someone that believes in you as much as you believe in yourself or more. If, you know, you have someone that's kind of, you know, tic-tacking at your passion, don't take the life out of you, man.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? And so I must thank God now for Whitney, you know, my girlfriend now. I have to say, she really believes in me and believed in me from day one. She is more excited about my accomplishments than her own. You know, when I was in the ICU room, this girl was sleeping on a tiny little recliner beside me every single night, seeing it through. When I went through a whole year with nothing, not broke, I'm talking about in debt, ain't no more broke. Like, I'm in the negative. You know, I don't know how to pay certain bills. I don't have a career. This case is going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm gonna win this case. These people got a lot more money than me. They have really legit lawyers.
Yeah.
So, her being down for me through all of that, I cannot thank her enough for that. She don't want any attention either, but she
Mm-hmm.
deserves it. And I want to go back again to my family, my mother. She's a sweetheart, but when it's time to be strong, shocked. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta thank those people and Reverend Albert also. Reverend Albert, actor, he's a reverend, but he acted on stage play production with me, and the wisdom that he's given me, and the presence that just just to have someone to talk to, I can't forget. I had to do my shout outs
You
right.
good? You good? So before we end the show, got a couple more questions. But so tell people, what do you have coming up next?
All right, so next up, spring is here, my people. I'm calling it early. March 8th, stage play production. I'll be on tour with Daniel Boxdale Productions. The production is called Family Reunion. We'll have 3 shows in Lynchburg, Virginia at the Academy Arts Center, March 8th, and then April 12th. March 8th, March 29th, I believe, and April 12th. You guys will see it on your screen while I'm talking. I will put it on the screen. But and I also have 2 comedy events coming. And that will be in Appomattox, Virginia on March 29th. Excuse me, that comedy show, that stage play production, not 29th. Stage play production, March 8th. Comedy show, March 29th in Appomattox. Another comedy show that night on March 29th in downtown Lynchburg at the Music Hall. And this tour that I'm on will go for the whole entire 2025. We'll have a slight summer break, and we'll get back to it, visit other states like D.C. and North Carolina, whoever else. So yeah, for right now, it's the acting, the comedy, excuse me, and I will still be public speaking at these churches. So any church out there, if you need a strong testimony, I am, I'm willing to come out there and speak to you guys. I'm not one of those people that I don't charge churches anything. I really want to get the Lord's word out there. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys want to see me right now, though, March 8th, get your tickets at danielboxdale.com and come see an amazing stage play production with comedy, drama, music, wonderful singers, tear jerking. Everything you need is going to be in this production right here. So I want to shout that out. And then my 2 comedy events on March 29th in Appomattox and in.
Okay, so where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at Anthony Train Johnson on Facebook. That's going to be your easiest avenue. Just to keep up with everything that I got going on. And also, if you want to entertain yourself and enjoy some good vibes, my TikTok is very, it does very well. You know what I'm saying? A lot of material on there. We had 1.2 million views on one video, 1.1 million, 700,000, 400,000. And I also do a live show on Monday nights called the After Dark Live Special. It's for my late night heads. 11 p.m. on Monday night, and it's just good R&B music, new and old, and good vibes, good conversation, good dialogue. And that's been a very popular show that's garnered, I would say, fans, honestly, across the country. So you can catch me on TikTok at Train File 608. You can catch me on Facebook at Anthony Train Johnson. And yeah, Instagram, don't even waste your time with it. Yeah, it's Instagram. Don't get me started, man. Instagram is so shallow to me. I'm sorry. I'm about to go on a rant. I was like, what am I looking at? But yeah, that's what you guys can find me at, definitely.
Okay. So you want to look in this camera? Oh, go ahead.
And I will have a website on the way. I have a website on the way, too.
Gotcha.
We'll drop that, too. But go ahead.
Okay. So I want you to look in this camera right here, look directly into the eyes of the people. And if you had to leave your followers, my followers, people watching this that don't know who we are, if you had to leave them with one message, what would that be?
My one message would be stay true to yourself and really, truly go for the passions that you have inside of you. It's never too late. I know you have a day job and you're committed to it or whatever and whatnot, but it's very important to go for things that's fulfilling. So I want you guys at home, I don't care how old or young you are, If you're thinking about it and it's been on your mind, I want you to do it. I want you to take time and I want you to do it. And no matter how it goes, you're going to have this sense of fulfillment because you're not going to look back with any regrets. That's my main thing. And value your people, value your family, value your friends. Make sure you make time for these, for your people, honestly, and keep whatever faith that you're at. I'm a born again Christian, as they say. Whatever faith you have, hold on to that. Keep that at the forefront. Keep that as your core. And at the end of the day, don't worry about what anybody thinks because you live one life. Like I told Jonathan earlier, this moment in your life that you think is the worst thing in the world, it's one grain of sand on a beach of eternity. Your eternity, your line, your timeline is so long. So whatever moment is holding you back, I want you to move on because there are better days ahead. No storm lasts forever. And just know that, especially my Christians out there, some Christians believe if I'm heavily involved with the Lord, I'm heavily praising, that I shouldn't go through storms. Well, the thing about Christ is the Lord is not going to take your storms away, but he's going to show you that he's with you in those storms. That's the most important thing I want you guys to remember, whatever you go through. And just love, man. Love. Kids, y'all know I'm going to tell you, stay close to them kids. From me to you guys, just roll with those things in life, and you can't go wrong when you're moving like that. Question it.
That's what's up, man. Well, I appreciate having you.
Thank you, Jonathan. I definitely, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate the time. I got to take a second here to shout out Jonathan, y'all. I love his work. I love his commitment. I love his consistency. I love the fact that he's willing to teach me. I know you guys are looking like, oh, big old, I'm trained, I'm doing whatever. No, I still need to know so many different things. And to have someone like Jonathan, a fellow hard worker, to be able to reach out to him, he answer the phone, he'll let me know, hey, you do this or do that. I can't thank you enough for that, honestly, because we all get to the next level with each other.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely want to shout this show, this podcast. I would love for it to keep going. And I'm going to help, I'm going to promote it. I'm going to put it out there. You know what I'm saying? And you got to come on Candid Talk.
Oh, yeah. Let me know.
We got to do that.
I'm ready, man. Let me know.
I'm going to set that up.
Let me know.
You guys can find Candid Talk, too, on Facebook or YouTube. My YouTube is Train Files LLC. It's very important to plug that in. And, you're going to see Jonathan on it soon.
Appreciate it.
No question.
Appreciate your words of encouragement, man, and your words of gratitude, man. I appreciate you. Just seeing someone else, iron sharpens iron. Maybe days I don't feel like doing it, I see your video, vice versa.
Isn't it amazing? Isn't that inspiration amazing? Yeah. No question, guys. Very important to keep rolling. Consistency is everything. If people see you being inconsistent, if you don't believe in your product, they're not going to believe in your product.
Exactly.
It's just that simple, man.
Exactly.
So we live once, man. Let's go get it, man. Let's go kick the doors down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to.
Yeah.
So as we bring this episode to a close, I just want to let you guys know, just like Train said, when you're thinking about what you're going through in life, you're actually growing through it. Me with the brain tumor, him being a burns survivor, a lot of times you got to stop and ask yourself, what am I going through and what is the reason for it? And a lot of times it has nothing to do with you, but it's someone that's watching your life very closely that God is trying to get to, but he is using your situation to tell them a story. So be thankful, and as you're going through that thing, this is going to sound weird, think about the last thing you prayed for. I prayed for a better mindset. I prayed to be hungry, and he blessed me with a brain tumor. Doesn't make sense, but he did, and I'm still here. The fact that me and his brother are still here, that we shouldn't be here today, but we're still here, but we have a different mindset. We are a different person that we were before we went through our trials. And to be honest with you, I'm a better person. If I could change it, I wouldn't. So I want you guys to leave thinking about that. And as I always say, one love. And the reason I say that is because it's one love, the love that agape love, the love of God that we should all strive for. Be blessed because it's your choice. You can look at your situation and complain, or you can look at your situation and try to find the best of it. So I'll say it again. One love, but it's your choice to be blessed. Appreciate you, brother.
And that's real words from Teflon John right there. I like
Appreciate
it.
you.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Teflon John, and I would like to personally thank you for listening to this episode of the Art of Reinvention podcast show. Follow us on social media on TikTok at the Reinvention Podcast, YouTube at the Art of Reinvention Talk Show, and Instagram at the Art of Reinvention Podcast. And you can hit us up at www.teflonjohn.com. That's John spelled John for all motivational content in Teflon Radio. And again, as I always say, one love, but it's your choice to be blessed.